Tell me if you can relate. I'm not even gonna tell you what it is, I'm just gonna show you. Let's figure that out. It is the dreaded uneven butterfly. So where you drop and one pad comes down first and then the other one. And usually when that happens, the puck ends up sliding right through here about a split second before you get the other pad down. Why does that happen? Honestly, I don't know. I'm not your goalie coach. Ask your goalie coach. But from my experience, it's a couple of things. Number one, do you trust your gear? Do you wear knee pads? Are you comfortable smashing onto your landing gear, your knee cradle? So do you trust dropping fast and hard and that it's gonna feel okay? Then the other part of it is just habit. So you might have, a favorite side that's just a little bit smarter, a little bit more coordinated, has a little more practice. It isn't a strength issue, it isn't a core stabilization issue, it's a pattern issue. And I'm gonna show you a couple of things that you can do off the ice to work on that pattern without overdoing it, without adding a whole bunch of wear and tear to your hips. But then the other piece of it is just finding that pattern when you're on the ice. So when you get on the ice, and I know a lot of you don't get much warm up, but you do usually get 3 minutes or so. So, come out, get ready, and drop into like 2 or 3 butterflies, making sure that you're hitting them together. And what I tell myself, again, just as a recreational goalie, not as your goalie coach, but what I tell myself is I do think about popping my knees, slapping my knees down to the floor. Honestly, I don't think it makes you drop into your butterfly faster, but I think it sort of uninhibits you a little bit and helps you drop them down evenly. The other issue that goalies that I work with have in their butterfly is they go in their butterfly and they sit back. So that, like, if my pants had a stripe, the stripe's angled this way, whereas you want it up nice and tall. If you want to get more forward over the puck, that can come from here, but you don't want to sit down to it like that. So think about almost like as if your upper body is going to stay in the same spot, and then your knees are going to drop down to the ice. So there isn't a collapse or a sit back. Staying up nice and tall. And again, that's just a practice and a reps thing. It's teaching your brain and your muscles that this is how we do it. The third reason you may not be dropping into a beautiful butterfly is a lack of hip internal rotation. So if you can't get wide, or maybe one side is really loose but the other is kind of limited, that could lead to a one then the other. Could also lead to a big old 5-hole staring at the shooter. So we want to make sure that we've maximized our hip internal rotation. Not everyone has the anatomy to get like a flat, very few people have the anatomy to get a flat butterfly, but even a nice wide butterfly, not everybody has that, but we want to maximize what you have and in an intelligent way. So I'm going to give you one of my favorite exercises when we get back to the lab, but then the Butterfly Challenge is a free 14-day mobility program designed exactly for that, so it's a perfect place to start. Back in the cozy confines of the lab, and let's continue solving this problem of the uneven butterfly or sitting in the butterfly like you got a full diaper going on. And we talked about 2 things that were motor pattern related. One was just getting both those knees to come down at the same time. The other was not sitting back in your bum. It really, for most of you, is not a core stability issue. It's a motor pattern issue. I just have a Bosu here. Because we want to be careful when we do this. We don't want to add a bunch of wear and tear. And remember, when you're on the ice, you have skates on that release, you have knee stacks, you might have knee pads. So please do not get carried away with this drill. We're going to use it in very small doses just to try and ingrain a bit of that motor pattern that then you can go and use on the ice. If you don't have a Bosu, you can stack 2 or 3 Airex pads if you're at a gym that has those, or if your sofa has cushions that are removable and you've got a good thick sofa cushion, that actually works pretty well too. Key points, don't overdo the volume. We're gonna do 5 to 10 repetitions just to get a feel for it. We are not gonna do 50 of them a day. That does not help solve the problem. And all we're going to do is get nice and wide. Think about that, the position that you would have, and then drop. And drop our knees and try to keep our body in the same position and stay tall in our hips. I know some of you are gonna look at it and be like, that doesn't look like what I do on the ice. That's right, because we're not on the ice. So it's going to look different. There's a difference in the surfaces, there's a difference in the mechanics. We're just trying to get the idea of going from here to here in a certain fashion. That's all. So that's why we're only gonna do about 5 to 10, just to get that feeling, because some of you will still, wanna do that boom, uneven butterfly, or some of you will still sit down. So we're gonna just break those habits, be nice and tall, plop them down at the same time. This one goes hand in hand with that issue of maybe it's an asymmetry or an imbalance in our hip internal rotation that makes you wanna boom into your butterfly unevenly. So a couple of very basic stretches that we can work on to help improve that hip internal rotation. We're gonna do a supine hip internal rotation and a prone hip internal rotation. The supine hip internal rotation is just lying on your back, making your feet just slightly wider than hip width and bringing your knees in together. And you'll hold that for 5 seconds. Now that I basically feel no stretch at all. So I'm gonna widen my feet out. I'm gonna bring them in. And it's okay if the soles of your feet come off the floor. We're not trying to work on ankle mobility here, we're trying to work hip mobility, so that's fine. Here I feel like a mild stretch. So I'm gonna hold that for 5 seconds, and I'm gonna stay there. And we're gonna do a total of 10 repetitions. So maybe after I do 3 in this position, I get back to like, okay, now I don't feel anything at all. So I'm gonna go just a little bit wider. Now I've got that sort of mild, medium stretch back, so I'll hold it there for 5 seconds. You're gonna do 5 hold for 5 seconds. What I don't want you to do is, because you're enthusiastic, I get it. So some of you are gonna make your feet super wide and then like use your muscles to try and drive your knees in together. Please don't do that. That's at best, it's gonna kind of make your muscles tighten up to protect them, because it's like, you're hurting me. So they're gonna tighten up to try and protect themselves. But at worst, you're gonna try and drive yourself into a position that your hips aren't designed to go into and create an injury. So let's just be nice to our hips. And the other exercise is similar but different. You're gonna lie on your tummy, just lay your hands one on top of the other like that, and then put your forehead on your hands. Bring your knees in together, bend your knees to about 90 degrees, and then just gently pull your feet apart. Don't force it, but just gently pull them apart. Hold that for 5 seconds and relax. Pull apart, hold for 5 seconds and relax. And you'll do 10 like that as well. You are not trying to force that. The nice thing about that one, or how it's a little bit different, is that it's an active stretch. So you're having to use the muscles you need to hold that wide butterfly flare. Like, when you do a butterfly slide and your lead pad wants to fold in behind you and it's really annoying. This exercise helps build some of the strength you need to hold that pad flat as you do that butterfly slide. So just gentle pressure, about a 5 out of 10, holding for 5 seconds, doing 10 repetitions. Both of those will help translate onto the ice by giving you a more even, consistent butterfly.